You could even get a mortgage. One click and you can be approved. I'm not sure by who or what country they're in. You deserve more from the mortgage industry. At AnyMac Home Mortgage, we believe in the need for live human interaction during a very complex process. The kind of service and guidance which an app simply can't provide. Our customers are more than credit scores and income documents. They're individuals and families who live in and strengthen our communities. Their story is our story, and that story begins in a home. Chris Sawyer is an expert on providing superior customer service and in meeting the mortgage needs of current and future home buyers. With over 18 years of experience in the industry, Chris is able to help customers migrate through the home buying and home financing process by using his wealth of knowledge as a well-qualified mortgage professional. And best of all, Chris is located in Cromwell, Connecticut, where he has helped hundreds of clients in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island make their dreams of home ownership a reality. Visit chrissawyer.any-mac.com. Email him at csawyer@any-mac.com or give him a call, 860-878-8730.
Chris Sawyer, NMLS number 39345, corporate NMLS number 338923, AnyMac Home Mortgage, an equal housing lender, American Neighborhood Mortgage Acceptance Company, LLC, DBA AnyMac Home Mortgage, LoFi Direct, Connecticut First Mortgage Correspondent, License Lender, Broker Number ML 338923, Massachusetts Mortgage Lender and Mortgage Broker License Number MC 338923, Rhode Island License Lender, License Number 2011280L. Call for additional details.
Jones on first down, wide open, it's Barkley, and Saquon Barkley will take it into the end zone.
Your best ability is availability. Saquon Barkley, he's great when he's on the field, but the problem is since 2018, he hasn't been healthy for this team.
Look at this, they lob it to him, he taps it in off the glass. How about that?
Porter Moser, I think right now is the best coach in college basketball, hands down.
Vince 2 for 3, he's done his part.
Pitch is drilled to deep right field toward the pole, and it is gone.
They don't mind not being what they were in the 90s as the best organization in baseball, because the Yankees are not. They're even close to the best organization in baseball.
You're trying to be the Rays, and the Rays do this for a reason. Like, you're the Yankees.
Welcome to Sports Talk with R&J. I am Steve Risser, along here with Justin D'Onofrio. And the Suns made another big trade this weekend. They went out and get Bradley Beal from the Washington Wizards. They trade Beal for Chris Paul, Landry Shamet, and a bunch of draft picks. And the big question is for the Suns is, are they the best right now? Are the Suns the best team in the Western Conference? That's the big question for the Suns right now. And I think it's close. I think it's close between them and the Nuggets. I think it's close between those two teams. But I think the difference is Bradley Beal, as good as Bradley Beal is as a player, he's not the most dependable player. You can't depend on him all the time. He's missed 72 games in the last two seasons. He missed 42 games in 2022. He missed, I think, 32 this year. So he's missed, I think, 74 games. 74 games in the last 2 years. You really can't rely on him to stay healthy. And you did give up Chris Paul. And now Bradley Beal is definitely an upgrade over Chris Paul right now. But you did give up Chris Paul. I mean, the point guard situation, fine, because Devin Booker can play point guard, fine. I'm not concerned about that. But you gave up Chris Paul. You gave up more depth with Landry Shamet. You gave up some picks. And you may not have, and Bradley Beal might not be able to stay healthy. But if these three stay healthy, I think them and the Nuggets are very, very close in the Western Conference.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're the best team on paper, but yeah, I don't think this team's winning a finals. Yeah, with Beal's durability staying on the court. We saw KD miss a lot of time too last year. You know, he's banged up and he's not getting any younger. This team's got no depth. And how did the Nuggets beat them? Because the Nuggets had depth. This team has zero depth. I think they're gonna have to trade DeAndre Ayton to get some depth. You're gonna have to. I know they don't want to probably, but you're gonna have to get any depth because that's how you got beat last year in the playoffs. I think that's how you're gonna get beat again in the playoffs.
Oh, they're going to trade DeAndre Ayton. I'm pretty convinced I'm pretty sure they're going to trade DeAndre Ayton because you can't really have four max guys and expect to be a championship contender because you're going to have no other player. You're going to have terrible guys around those four guys. So they're going to definitely they're going to trade DeAndre Ayton. I mean, they're not stupid. They'll trade DeAndre Ayton, get some more depth, get some more role players around those three guys. So I think Ayton's going to be traded. But again, yeah, as we say, are the Suns the best team in the Western Conference? I think we still got to say it's the it's the Nuggets because they won the championship last year. And they still and the Nuggets. I mean, they got four really good starters. Even though Porter didn't play that well in the NBA Finals, they still got four really, really good starters. The Suns now have three really good players with KD, Durant, and and Beal. But as we said, Beal and Durant have missed time. They're not the most dependable. And if one of those two guys out in the playoffs, they got to play Denver in a big playoff series. They're not winning that series.
Yeah, absolutely. 'Cause, they won't. We saw Jokic be able to do. We don't know if what kind of role guys the Suns are going to have to rely on to win a series like that. Again, they're going to have to make a couple moves like Rob Pelinka did and the Lakers did toward trade deadline. That's kind of what they're going to have to do to build some of that depth and just kind of find the right piece around them. Yeah, I'm with you. I take Denver right now over them. If you give me those three, because Beal, I would say, is borderline top 30, top 35. Like, he's a good player, but he's not a great player. But yeah, like, is he, and we haven't seen him a ton in the playoffs yet either. We haven't been able to see that. He's being with Washington. They're in their own right. It's a horrible organization, and they didn't get much for him, but much for Bradley Beal. But yeah, I think the Suns right now totally could be the way, win the finals on paper. Yeah, they look like they're probably the best team, with the stars that they got, or one of the best. But yeah, right now I still got to take Denver.
Oh, you got it. Yeah, I mean, I know we haven't seen Beal. We saw Beal early in his career when he was in Washington. Yeah, we haven't seen Beal in a very, very long time play in the postseason. But if these three can stay healthy, it's going to be very close. You just got to go with experience, and you got to go with the team that did it last year. And Denver has the experience, and they're the defending champ. So I would go with Denver, but by a little if the three of them stay healthy.
Yeah, if they're healthy, yeah, I think they can win it. Again, I still got to see what kind of role guys they can bring in to help them out. But yeah, you're going to get a downgrade at center, which is going to be, obviously you're going to have to do. But, who can you fill in at that center spot to guard Jokic? We saw guys step up for Denver off the bench. We didn't really see that much from Phoenix this year. Shamet had a couple of good games. But, look, it's going to be tough for the Suns, and I'm not a big Frank Vogel guy either. I know he won a title, but he did have LeBron James and Anthony Davis. I'm not the biggest fan of him, so we'll see. But look, I still think Denver's a little bit better. But yeah, I think Phoenix absolutely could right now win an NBA title with the roster they got, with the pieces they have. They could. I don't know if they could totally stay healthy, because Durant's up there too in age.
Absolutely. And now we'll transition to Kevin Durant. And the big question with Durant going into the season, is he under more pressure than any player in the NBA to win a championship? And I'm going to say yes. I think it's close between Embiid and Tatum, but I'm going to say yes, because we all remember Kevin Durant joined Steph Curry's team. He joined Steph Curry's team to win those two championships. And yes, I know he won the finals MVP both years, but he joined Steph Curry's team to win those two championships. His last experience of being part of a super team failed in Brooklyn. This cannot fail here. He's under a ton of pressure to win a championship. I think the reason I think he's under more than Harden and Embiid Embiid hasn't left his team. Durant has left. He's left three teams. He didn't sign with the Thunder. He went to the Warriors. Then he left the Warriors. He didn't re-sign with the Warriors to go to the Nets to form a super team with Kyrie and James Harden. That failed. And this has got to work. This has got to work for Kevin Durant. For me, Kevin Durant is under more pressure than any player to win a championship. Last year, okay, you get a little bit of a pass because you were only with that team for 2 months before the postseason. This year, there's no pass. Kevin Durant has got to win a title this year. Justin, do you agree?
Yeah, it's tough between him and Jason Tatum, just because the Boston media is so tough, on everybody on those teams. I'm going to take Tatum. I'll take Tatum just for the sake of the argument here. But Durant's won a couple. Jason Tatum in that core, down in the bubble, they lost to the Heat. We saw them lose the Heat this year. I know last year they got the finals in Game 6 against the Warriors, but they couldn't get it done. There's a lot of pressure, especially around here with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, and can that duo work? And especially too, because I know Game 7 against the Sixers, he had an unbelievable game. He put up 50 points. I know he got hurt in Game 7 to the Heat, so I don't want to put all the blame on him. But we really haven't seen that big kind of, besides that Sixer game, in a big game like that, can he reliably in a big spot put his team on his back and go out there and put up 40, 45? We've seen it at times, but could we see it enough? And I think there's a lot of pressure, because we talked about this too during one of the series this year.
Yeah,
he's always talked about Kobe.
Yeah.
You always talk about Kobe.
Yeah,
kind of
hold exactly. That to him. Yeah. He wants to talk about Kobe Bryant, and he hasn't won any championships. It's a good point with Tatum. It's a good point. I just feel like, though, with Tatum, he didn't force his way out. Like, Kevin Durant forced his way out of Brooklyn. He wanted out. He wanted this. So I think there's more pressure on him to win that championship. No, it's very close. There's a lot of pressure on Tatum. There's a lot of pressure on Embiid. But Kevin Durant, during his career was compared to, the great players in the NBA. He should not be put in the same conversation as the Steph Currys and the LeBron James if he can't win a title with his son's team. He shouldn't be put in the conversation as those guys because, as I mentioned, Kevin Durant had to join Steph Curry's team to win 2 rings, and then after Kevin Durant left, that team won another championship. So the funny thing about the Warriors was Kevin Durant joined Steph Curry's team, and it always was Steph Curry's team. The difference between him and LeBron, when LeBron joined the Miami Heat with Dwayne Wade, it was Dwayne Wade's team when he got there, and it became LeBron's team once they started winning championships. It's different with Durant. Durant joined Steph's team, and it was always Steph's team. I feel like he has to win a championship not being with the Warriors for him to be considered even to be put in the conversation with LeBron James or Steph Curry.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that. If he wants to be in that conversation, he's got to win one of Phoenix. And I kind of feel like the other way with Tatum is if he wants to be put up there in that pedestal with the LeBrons right now and the KDs and the Giannis's and the Jokic, he's got to win one of his own. And I think we've talked, like, he's good enough and he's a good enough player. The way he can impact his team, the success he's had not getting to a final, not winning a final so far. But again, Jason Tatum could be one of the best players in the league, in the sport, and he shows he can be. But to get to that stepping stone here, he's got to win that title, I feel like, to kind of be put in that category with LeBron, with Giannis, with Jokic, of like the best of the best in the league. And he hasn't gotten there yet, but yes, he's been very, very close.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can see there's a lot. There are 3 players. There's clearly the 3 players that are under the most pressure next year: Kevin Durant, Joel Embiid, because he's got to validate being an MVP. He won the MVP, and if you've watched the NBA playoffs, Jokic completely outplayed him. Embiid was not good enough in Game 6, and he was terrible in Game 7. So there's 3 guys: KD, Embiid, and Tatum. Those 3 guys clearly have the most pressure of anyone to win a championship next year.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. Those 3 do. Embiid has, Embiid's big year in front of him. We'll see if James Harden comes back or if they, if he goes somewhere else, and we'll see what they could add in there. And yeah, Tatum, another one. Him and Jaylen Brown got to find a way to get to the finals or win the finals. And yeah, KD with that team and with all the aging stars in the Western Conference, it kind of feels like them and Denver are kind of the 2 teams right now that could really be there in the West, and that have a chance here. And Phoenix should be right there to try to win the finals next year.
Absolutely. They got to be right there. They got to be right there. They got to be in the conversation to win that championship, or this thing fails completely if they're not. But we'll transition to Draymond Green. And Draymond Green, he opted out on Monday. He opted out of his $27.5 million from the Golden State Warriors. And here's the thing. The big question is will Draymond be back to the Warriors? I think he absolutely will, because you heard Mike Dunleavy Jr. on Monday. He wants him back. He definitely wants him back with the team. I do think the Warriors overvalue him too much, though. I think there's a lot of loyalty there, and I think they overvalue him too much. I honestly, if I'm the Warriors, I would honestly just let him walk. I know Steve Kerr says we're not a championship team without Draymond. I don't know if that's totally true. This guy has not averaged more than 10 points a game in 5 years, and you saw him when he was the best player on the Warriors. They were the worst team in the NBA. I think the Warriors overvalue Draymond Green, but knowing the Warriors' loyalty to him, I think he'll be back there.
I think so too. Again, he's a glue guy. He'll do all the little things. Again, he's not a great scorer. He's a 66% free throw shooter. Like he's not great scoring wise.
And the problem is he's not a great scorer in an era where scoring means more than it ever has meant.
Yes, absolutely. And that's the big problem. That's why, he'll probably be back, because besides the Warriors, who else is gonna get more than $27 million? And if I'm the Warriors, I wouldn't give him that much.
Nobody's giving him more than $27 million. No. The guy averaged 8.5 points a game this year.
Yeah, he did. And look, he's a terrific glue guy. He'll do all the little things. He'll go after. You saw him and Sabonis in the first round go at it with each other. Again, I like that kind of part of him, that he'll do everything. But yeah, that the value. That value isn't, people don't value that as much as it used to be. So yeah, I think he'll be back with the Warriors. But yeah, I'm kind of surprised he still opted out for $27 million, because I don't think anybody else besides the Warriors would pay that. And if I'm the Warriors, I would not go. I would not pay him more. So was a little bit surprised, but yeah, I think the Warriors will bring him back.
Oh yeah, I think he's just going to be back with the Warriors, and you said it perfectly. No one's going to pay him more than $27.5 million. He's not going to get more money anywhere else than the Warriors. So I definitely think he will be back with the Warriors.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Then we'll see how much more that team's got one more run in them.
Yeah, we'll see. It'll be interesting to see what happens there. But now we're going to transition to the draft, and obviously we're going to do our mock draft for only the first 15 picks. We're not going 1 to 30. We're just going 1 to 15, and we'll start with the Spurs. And obviously this will be a quick one. We know where they're going. It was obvious a month ago where they were going. It was Victor Wembanyama. He's the best prospect since LeBron James, and this. There's nothing more obvious to see that he will be the number one pick. Let's just hope he plays basketball better than he threw a baseball last night when he threw out the first pitch at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah. Well, he's got to stick to basketball. He's not played baseball before. But yeah, he's one of the best. He's a unicorn. Thing is, because his body holds up. He only plays once a week over in France, so we'll kind of see how his body holds up. But a great ball handler for his size. Again, he's been kind of penciled as the number one pick since a year ago from now. So yeah, he'll be terrific, and the Spurs look like they got another generational star coming to town.
Absolutely. I'll remember the Spurs in 97. David Robinson barely got hurt. The Spurs were one of the worst teams in basketball because they weren't a championship team, but they were perennially one of the better teams in the league in the early to mid 90s. David Robinson got hurt. They got a top pick. They got Tim Duncan. Then they were champions 2 years later. I think this guy will lead the Spurs to a championship. I think he's definitely given Pop, at least 5 more years, giving Pop definitely more coaching. I think he's got 5 more years in him just because of Victor Wembanyama.
Yeah, I could always see that. I love Pop. I think he's one of the best in the sport. Yeah, it'd be nice to get him one more. And yeah, because that guy never seems like he's going to leave the bench. But yeah, it'd be cool to get to see him get one more ring in him. So yeah, he's got a chance now bringing Victor Wembanyama, and we'll see what else they can do.
Absolutely. Now the draft begins at 2. And for me, it's a tough pick between Scoot Henderson and Brandon Miller. But for me, with the second overall pick, I got the Hornets taking Brandon Miller. The Hornets were 29th in three-point shooting percentage last year. Brandon Miller is the best three-point shooter in this class. He shot 38% last year at Alabama. That's why with the second overall pick, I got the Hornets taking Brandon Miller out of Alabama. Justin, who do you got with the second pick?
I got Scoot Henderson. But you think Miller's better than Hawkins at shooting? Think he's a better three-point shooter?
No, he's a more complete player. I'll give him that. Okay, he's a more complete player.
Yeah. But I'm gonna go with Scoot Henderson. Miller's a fantastic player. Yeah, this was a tough one. Henderson played well in the G League. He knocked down the 3-point shot. Great ball handler. Always seems like he's played with a chip on his shoulder. I think somebody in Charlotte, him and LaMelo Ball kind of I think could fit together. I think Henderson could play a little bit off ball too. We'll see. I know looking for a new owner now, and we'll see if Charlotte can get it together because it's been a while for them. They really haven't drafted well, and we'll see if they can get something going here in the future with LaMelo Ball and maybe Scoot Henderson.
Absolutely. Now with the third overall pick, there's a lot of talk in Portland that Damian Lillard is going to get traded. With who I have them selecting, I think Damian Lillard is done in Portland. And with the third overall pick, I got the Blazers selecting Scoot Henderson out of the G League. I think this is the guy you pick to rebuild that franchise. I think this is the guy you've had Dame Lillard for over a decade. Now it looks like you're moving on from Dame Lillard. Now you get that point guard of the future, and that is Scoot Henderson. That's why I got the Blazers taking him number 3 overall.
Yeah, I'm going Brendan Miller. I think he's a great good long-term building block for the team. Not a great finisher around the rim, but I completely agree with you. He's probably the best complete player in this draft. He's 5-star prospect last year. You saw what that Alabama team did in the regular season. They blew out everybody they played for the most part. Excellent shooter. Around the rim, he's a really good finisher as well. So I got Portland getting Brandon Miller.
And the big question is, do you think that Portland is going to move on from Dame Lillard?
It seems like Lillard wants to stay. I think it depends on what kind of if Scoot Henderson's there at 3, yeah, I think maybe there's a more incline there. But I think it depends on what kind of package you can get for him. Beal, that the Wizards didn't get a ton for Beal. I think maybe you get some more for Lillard, but I think it's tough. I'll say he sticks around for a couple more years, or for at least one more year.
Wow. We'll see what happens. That's going to be interesting, and that's going to be very interesting. That's going to be very interesting to see what happens with him in the offseason, see if Lillard stays or goes. That's going to be really interesting. But we'll move on to the Rockets with the number 4 overall pick. The Rockets got a pretty good young core with Jalen Green and Jabari Smith. I think they add to this young core, and I think they draft Amen Thompson to add to that young core with Jalen Green and Jabari Smith. I think they add Amen Thompson to add to that young core.
Yeah, I'm with you too. Coming over from the G League, super high upside. The defense could be a little bit better, but he's a terrific playmaker as well. Yeah, I think Houston adds to that young core there that they got, and with Udoka coming in, who's a pretty good coach. I think Houston's future looks a little bit brighter, than it has last kind of couple years.
Absolutely. They got to start winning games in Houston. They got to start winning games. They're building the young core. Got to start winning games there. Now, with number 5 overall pick, when you have one of the worst records in the league, you don't want to be number 5 overall. But with the number 5 overall pick, it goes to the Pistons. And I think they got some pretty good guard. They got some good guard play. They didn't have Cade Cunningham play last year, but he'll be back this year. You got Jaden Ivey. I think the big thing, I know they got Bogdanovich, but I think they need another wing. And I think Cam Whitmore could fit this team. We watched him play at Villanova. Villanova played better when he played. I know he only averaged 12.5 a game, but Villanova was a better team when he was on the floor. I know this is a potential over a production pick, but I with the 5th overall pick, I got the Pistons taking Cam Whitmore.
Yeah, freshman of the year in the Big East, still thought that should have been Caravan's award, but
yeah, again, come on. Whitmore's a really good player. Whitmore played like half the year.
Yeah, that's what I never understood about that, but nothing you can do about that, but chip on his shoulder for Caravan. He's the first one and done since Tim Thomas back in 97, but he's another athletic wing. They need another knockdown 3-point shooter. He can space the floor as well, which they need in Detroit. Yeah, I think Detroit's got some young talent. Like, they add Whitmore. They got a really exciting core here. Again, could it translate to wins? We'll see, but I think, Detroit, I'm on the same page with you. They go out and get Cam Whitmore.
With the number 6 overall pick, that goes to the Magic. And looking at the Magic, they got, Paolo Banchero had a really, really good rookie year. He should be rookie of the year. He had a really good year. Franz Wagner, he's a good player too. They need some guard play. Jalen Suggs hasn't lived up a little bit. Markelle Fultz, he's an average player at best. They need a guard. The Magic need a guard. And that's why with the 6th pick, I got the Magic going with Anthony Black out of Arkansas.
Yeah, I like Anthony Black. He's a talented player. Wasn't a great shooter last year. I know Orlando needs some shooting, but for my first pick here, I got him getting Arsar Thompson, the out of Overtime Elite. He's not the greatest shooter in the world, but again, I think he can kind of improve on that. But he's a really good finisher. He's a really good finisher around the rim, and he's a phenomenal athlete. And I think Orlando with their 2nd pick will get shooting, and I think this one kind of helps maybe get like the best player available.
Absolutely. With the 7th overall pick, that goes to the Indiana Pacers. I feel like they found a point guard in Tyrese Halliburton. Tyrese Halliburton is a really, really good player. The thing is, he needs shooters and he needs wings around him. And that's why with the 7th pick, I got Arsar Thompson out of Overtime Elite going to the Pacers to add another wing guy with Buddy Hield that Halliburton can distribute the ball to.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good pick. I'm going with another kind of wing guy too, with Jarris Walker. He's a Swiss Army knife, committed, played at Houston last year. Shot under 35% from 3, but again, he's probably one of the best defenders in this draft. And last year I felt like times he kind of disappeared on the floor, especially offensively. And with all the talent, with Halliburton, he won't have to do a ton of scoring wise, but I think somebody come in help defense, because Indiana was not great defensively last year.
No, not at all. Now, with the number 8 pick, I'm going to make it simple. The Wizards, they lost a shooting guard in Bradley Beal. I think they go out and draft another guard in Grady Dick. Grady Dick shot the ball really, really well from 3. I think he'll be kind of the replacement for Bradley Beal. I know this team has a long way to go in terms of rebuilding this team, but at the number 8 pick, I got the Wizards going with Grady Dick out of Kansas.
I am going with forward Taylor Hendricks out of UCF. Another one and done kid. Top 75 or top 70 prospect last year, came out of nowhere. Great rim protector, and he's a really good spot up shooter for the 4 spot. again, Washington with everything going on right now, I think you got to get the best available player, and I think Taylor Hendricks is would bring that to Washington.
Now, with the number 9 pick, that's with the Utah Jazz. Utah Jazz had a little bit of a surprising year last year. I thought they were going to be worse than they were because that was because of the big reason why was because of the play of Lowry Markkanen. But I think the biggest thing for the Jazz, they got to get a guard. They traded Donovan Mitchell. Now they need a guard. You need a guard. It's a guards league. You need a player that can distribute the ball and that can score the ball. And I think that could. And I think that guy could be Jalen Hood-Schifino out of Indiana. And that's why I got with the 9th overall pick, the Jazz taking Jalen Hood-Schifino out of Indiana.
Yeah, I'm going another guard as well, going out at Arkansas, Anthony Black. He was the number 1 recruit last year. Wasn't a great 3-point shooter, but he's a really good playmaker, really, really well solid too on the defensive end of the floor. Utah needs some guards, and I think, either Hood-Schifino or Anthony Black would be 2 very good choices for the Jazz.
Absolutely. Yeah. That team needs a point guard. And definitely one of those 2 guys would be really good for that team. Now, with the number 10 pick with the Mavs. Now, usually in the spot the Mavs are in, they would like to have that veteran, guy, that veteran player, maybe that, junior or senior that, could make their team good immediately. But the thing about this draft is filled with a lot of freshmen, in my opinion. So a lot of the best players are freshmen or 19 and 20-year-olds. So I think the biggest need for the Mavericks, though, is a wing because I think they're going to re-sign Kyrie Irving. I think they kind of have to. I think they're going to re-sign Kyrie, even though I'm not the biggest Kyrie Irving fan. I think they're going to re-sign him. So with this pick, I think they need a wing player because Bullock and Hardaway are not that good. I think Hardaway has his flashes of being good. Bullock can shoot threes, but none of them are that good. So I think the biggest thing is they need a wing player. I think a good fit would be Taylor Hendricks out of UCF. I think that would be a really, really good pick for the Mavericks at 10.
Yeah, I like that pick. I'm going to go with Cason Wallace out of Kentucky. He is actually from Dallas, but again, I think he is the best on-ball defender in the draft. Again, I remember last year that game against Michigan State where it 8 steals. They did lose in overtime, but just the way, he's not a great catch and shoot guy, but he could play off the ball. He's a really good playmaker. And I think that could fit really well with Luka Doncic. Even if Kyrie comes back, I got the the Dallas Mavericks and Cason Wallace.
Absolutely. That is a good pick there. Now, number 11, that is the Orlando Magic. And I think if they say they take a guard at number 6 with Anthony Black, I do have some good wings with Banchero and Wagner. I think they need a guy who can play inside. And that's why with the 11th pick, I got the Magic taking Jarris Walker out of Houston. Justin, who do you got the Magic taking with their second first-round pick at 11?
I get Grady Dick out of Kansas. I think second best shooter in this draft. They're in desperate need of that, of shooting. He's got such a quick release. Again, the passing and the playmaking's got to get a little bit better. But again, they need him to score. And I think he helps them do that right away.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Grady Dick would be nice for the Magic there at 11. Now, with the 12th overall pick, now, I'm guilty of this. I shouldn't be picking guys I can't pronounce their name. And you picked a much better guy. I'm regretting it doing my mock draft. I should just put this guy here. But for the Thunder, they got SGA. You got Chet Holmgren. So you got 2 really good players there. I think maybe they get another shooter, another wing. That's why I can't pronounce his name. But the kid from France, did you know his name?
No, I think the last name's like but I don't know. I don't know how to do the first name.
I feel like they need a wing, so I got them taking that guy with the number 12th overall pick. Justin, who do you got? Our guy going number 12.
Yeah, I got Jordan Hawkins. Yeah, teaming up. But again, I think he's the best spot up shooter in this draft. He's so good at coming off the screens as well and knocking down. He's got such a quick release. Again, he's a solid defender. The ball handling's got to get better. He's got to work on his body. He's got to get stronger to go to the basket. He did that a little bit late in the season last year. He's already got 2 concussions of going to the basket. But again, I think Hawkins, I think the one worry is he could be a one-trick pony with his shooting ability. I know he had some good workouts, but Hawkins going to Oklahoma City Thunder and adding some shooting to that team.
Yeah, absolutely. With the 13th overall pick, I got the Raptors. Van Fleet, he opted out, so I got them taking another guard. I got the Raptors taking Cason Wallace from Kentucky with that pick. I think this will be a good addition for them. I think this will be a good addition. They need another guard, so this will be a good addition for the Raptors at 13.
Yeah, I got Derek Whitehead coming out of Duke. He got off to a really slow start. I think the whole year he had foot surgery in the offseason, but he's a very athletic, very explosive wing. The injuries are concerning. He's a really good defender. He's a versatile defender. He could guard multiple positions, and he's a good finisher on the rim, decent shooter. But again, was supposed to, the numbers are not eye popping from last year, but again, the talent is there. You just hope he could stay healthy.
Absolutely. Now, with the 14th pick, and that goes to the New Orleans Pelicans. The Pelicans, if you look at their roster, they need guard play. I think they need guard play. They got a good wing in Ingram. Obviously, we'll see what happens with Zion. Obviously, good center in Valanciunas. McCollum's a good guard, but I feel like they need another guard. And that's why with the 14th pick, I got them taking Nick Smith Jr. out of Arkansas.
Yeah, I got him taking another guard. I got him taking Keontae George out of Baylor. He's a fantastic shooter. The problem is he's just very, very streaky. I think there's a lot of untapped potential too of him being a playmaker. Didn't really do that a lot last year at Baylor, but again, and crazy thing is he's not a great defender and playing for Scott Drew, who's a very, very good defensive head coach. You did not see that all last year. That was Baylor's big problem why they were not Baylor last year. But I think Keontae George very streaky, but again, if he's on, he's on.
Alrighty, with the 15th pick, the Atlanta Hawks. I think their guard play is fine with Murray and Young. I think they need a big. I think that Clint Capella has not played as well over the last couple of years, and that's why I got Derek Lively out of Duke going to them at 15.
I got Noah Clowney. He's very young but very raw. I think he gives the Hawks a mix of a really good shooter, and who can also, is a very good rim protector. He's a four that could space. He's can play the four. He could space the floor, which is very valuable in today's NBA. So I think he fit very well with that with the Atlanta Hawks.
Yeah, I definitely could see that happening. So we'll wrap up our NBA talk talking about Ja Morant, and on Friday the league did come to their decision, handing him a 25-game suspension. I do think it's a little light. I know Miles Bridges only got 30 games for what he did, so I think the league didn't want to go over that because Ja Morant technically didn't break the law. But for me, I think it was like, this is his second incident with a gun. He's waving a gun on Instagram Live. I think there's a little bit less. Now, I wouldn't have went the whole season. I would have went half the season. I do think 25 games and with the money he's losing is a punishment, and I hope he learns from this because he's a top 10 talent in this league. Now, I'd take 10 players over him because of the off the court stuff. I would definitely take 10 players over him, but I think he's a top 10 talent in this league. So I do think he'll learn from this, but I do think I don't think it's really light, but I think it's a little light with 25 games.
Oh, I think it's completely light. I think it's a joke. That
wow.
25.
Wow.
I think it should have been at least half a season. Like again, what is this? Like 25 games, I don't think is enough. I'm like 8 didn't seem like enough. It kind of seemed like a big joke to him. I don't think a quarter of a season is going to do it, or not even a little bit more than a quarter season is going to do enough. I'm not convinced of that. I'm really not. Again, I'll be completely honest. This is one of the reasons why I don't think Adam Silver is a greatest commissioner as everybody says he is, because the players, boss him around, and he can't. Like, this is something that you really, for everyone else in this league, you really could have, set an example of this. This is not going to fly in my league, and I think he dropped the ball on that. I don't think he did a very good job with this, and I think it should have been at least half the season. Again, I hope he gets help, and I hope maybe 25 games does help him, but I think it's a complete joke that it's not at least 40 games. It should have been. So for me, part of the reason why I'm not a big Silver fan, but look, I just should have been at least a half a season. I think that would have really made taught him a lesson.
Yeah, and you make a good point with Silver with discipline. Miles Bridges has a domestic violence issue, only gets 30 games. Ja Morant flashes a gun for the second time. You got a great point, and he only gets 25 games. Yeah, discipline is a major, major issue with Adam Silver. We thought when he dropped, which he had to drop the hammer on Donald Sterling, that was absurd what he said. Yeah. When he dropped the hammer on Donald Sterling, we were like, this commissioner's great. He's going to punish anybody. And now you're seeing a lot of light punishments here from Ja Morant, from Miles Bridges. You're seeing light punishments. And yeah, you're right. He may not end up learning from this, and his talent could be wasted.
Yeah, and that's the unfortunate part, because again, I still remember watching that open practice for the 2018 regional in Hartford. Again, the stuff that he was doing in practice, just the dunks he was throwing down at warm-ups, it was amazing to see this guy in person.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and again, you see it translate to to Memphis and see, they were 2 seed last year. Like, again, he's a fantastic player, but yeah, he can't get his head in the right place. And it's unfortunate, the Bridges suspension too. That was ridiculous. That should have been at least like 50, 60 games, even more. But yeah, this is, again, the players run the league, and that's the thing that he's got to fix. And I know that's a discussion for another day, but yeah, the Morant thing, yeah, I hope he gets help because he's a talented player in Memphis. Memphis has a really good roster again, and they're going to be a threat in the Western Conference. But again, he's not going to be hanging around for too much longer in this league if he continues to do stuff like that.
Absolutely. I mean, he's one more incident away, especially with the handgun. He's one more incident away from it being over. He's one more incident away from being over. And then if something else happens, then this 25-game suspension is a terrible call. This is very late.
Yeah, absolutely, it would be. And then what Silver kind of announced, our punishment's, we will not say at the finals. Like, he made it kind of sound like, like we're really gonna drop the hammer on him. Like it just kind of seemed like it was all talk and no action. But yeah, I think with Morant, it's at this point, one more strike and because how many more times can Memphis keep holding on this guy if he keeps doing stuff like this? It's again, he's hurting his team.
Yep.
It hurts the team. You're gonna lose him for half a season or for about a little bit more than a quarter of a season. So yeah, it's unfortunate, and you hope he gets help. And hopefully they could stay on track for the first 25 games without him, and hopefully they stay above float, and maybe they can make a run without him next year or with him next year when he comes back.
We'll end up seeing. But yeah, it just it's not good for John Morant. But hopefully he learns from this. But the Yankees and Red Sox are going 2 different directions, as we saw this weekend. But before we talk about that, we're going to hear from our friends at JPEG Financial and Shamrock Home Inspections.
Do you have a 401k and some savings for future retirement, but don't even know if it's enough to live off of? How much is enough? How often are you thinking about it? The team at JPEG's Financial Group can help set your mind at ease. We specialize in creating strategies in the planning and managing of your financial, educational, and investment needs. We help clients pursue their investment goals with sound financial strategies. You deserve a personal, tailored plan. Lasting, meaningful, and open relationships are the foundation of our practice. You've worked hard for your money and should feel confident in your investment choices as you make decisions for your financial future. Your goals are our goals. We are dedicated to your needs and hopes for your future. Visit our website and give us a call at 860-430-5397. Securities offered through Raymond James Financial Services, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Raymond James Financial Services Advisors, Inc. JPEG's Financial Group, LLC is not a registered broker-dealer and is independent of Raymond James Financial Services. JPEG's Financial Group is located at 78 Eastern Boulevard, Glastonbury, Connecticut.
There's no bigger investment than home ownership. And to make sure the house is up to your standards, you need a professional to look it over. Brian Flanagan from Shamrock Home Inspections is a licensed home inspector and a member of the Connecticut Association of Home Inspectors. Brian was a contractor for over 15 years, so he knows how homes should be constructed and how mechanicals should work.
What makes me a good home inspector was the 20 years that I was a home improvement person, doing all the different repairs that I have done and what other people have done wrong that I had to go out and fix. So I have a pretty quick eye on seeing what's right and what's wrong. Before you move, call Shamrock Home Inspections.
Before you make the biggest investment of your life, call Brian Flanagan from Shamrock Home Inspections at 860-268-2566 or visit shamrockhomeinspectionct.com.
All righty, so the Yankees have really been struggling, especially on offense. I know they won last night. I get it, but guess who pitched last night? It was Garrett Cole. The team's 12-4 when Garrett Cole started, and Garrett Cole's a Cy Young Award winner. So, yeah, they won last night, but I think we expected them to win last night. The problem is this team and their offense. Their offense, in the 24 games that Aaron Judge has played, only 6 times this team has scored more than 4 runs. One of them was Friday night when they were getting crushed, and the Red Sox were just throwing random pitchers in the game because they had the game won. So you could even say it's 5 times. So this offense is a major, major issue when Aaron Judge hasn't played. Rizzo, I know we got a hit last night, but Rizzo has really struggled since he got hurt, since he came off the IL. Torres has been average at best. And really the rest of this lineup outside of Torres and Rizzo and Stanton has not been good at all since he came off the IL. And then the rest of the lineup is just absolutely terrible. I mean, you got guys. I know they got Bader back, which is a positive, but you got guys like IKF. You got guys like Jake Bowers. I know Bowers had some plays defensively, but he's not a good hitter. You have guys like as Waldo Cabrera. You have guys in this lineup, Josh Donaldson, DJ LeMahieu, Jose Trevino, who's absolutely terrible. This offense has been a major issue. They're 16th in runs scored right now in all of baseball and Major League and in all of baseball. So this offense is the biggest reason why the Yankees are 10.5 games out of first place. I know the depth of the rotations a little bit is a concern too, but the biggest reason is because of this offense. And Aaron Judge not being there hasn't helped.
Oh yeah, again. Not in baseball, not one guy should make this much of an impact to a lineup, but it does. Like even when Trout goes out, the Angels aren't, there's not this much of a difference, and that's why Aaron Judge was like the leader last year in WAR. There's a reason why.
Oh yeah,
this again. This team is just built on a bunch of older pieces like Rizzo, LeMahieu, Donaldson. Stanton, and again, they can't say, and they're not great players anymore. Unfortunately, they're not.
Yeah, those guys are definitely showing their age. Stanton is, Donaldson definitely is, Rizzo is starting to, LeMahieu definitely has over the last 3 years. Like DJ LeMahieu hasn't been that good in 3 years.
Yeah, I think since he signed the contract, he's 259. He's batting. I saw 259. That's not good enough.
And Gleyber Torres has not been the guy. He hasn't been horrific. A lot of people get on Gleyber Torres. He hasn't been horrible. At least he actually has 30 RBIs, which very few guys on this team have 30 RBIs. I think he's the only guy outside of Aaron Judge or Anthony Rizzo to have 30 RBIs. But still, he's not the player we thought we were getting in 2019. We thought we were getting a stud in 2019. We thought we were going to have a stud in our team in 2019.
Yeah, absolutely. We thought we did, and we have not yet. And that's the disappointing part is, again, Torres just feels like he's just too nonchalant, with things like it just comes so easy to him that at times he just can't make the simple plays at times, and I feel like that's even hitting wise as well. But yeah, Stan and Donaldson are just Donaldson's contemplating retirement, I guess, next year. Again, why don't you give Oswald Peraza a chance down at AAA?
That's what Joe, Trevor, and Ted were saying yesterday. Give Peraza a chance. Look at the Reds. Yeah. They've brought a bunch of guys up. De La Cruz. They brought a bunch of guys up, and they've won 10 in a row. Yeah. Just bring guys up. We don't want to ruin his confidence. If the guy is better than the guy, if the younger guy is better than the guy he's replacing, bring him up.
Yeah. Yeah. Who cares? I don't get it with this team. They're full of excuses. That's all they are. How Lad's Steinbrenner 2 weeks ago said, when we get all the pieces back, when Judge comes back, when we get healthy, I think we're World Series contender.
Yeah, but even if Judge comes back, their offense still isn't. It's better, but it's not great. The issue, the depth in the rotation, that's still an issue. And also, we'll get to this, not having a consistent ninth inning guy, that's still an issue too. So some of the issues still are still there. And the thing is, even if Judge comes back, they're not better. They're not better than the Rays. They're not better than the Orioles. They're not better than the Astros or the Rangers. I know the Astros they're ahead of the Astros in the standings, but I'll give the Astros the benefit of the doubt because of how they've been dominant over the last 6-7 years. But they're not better than the Astros or Rangers in the American League. They're still arguably not even a top 5 team in the AL with Judge coming back.
Yeah, that's the problem with this team. And again, these players are all full of excuses. They're like, we miss Judge and all that, and it's just like, we should feel sorry for him. It's like, we don't feel sorry for any of you. We don't. You got to be out there production-wise. But, yeah, you're 10.5 back of the Rays. Yeah, you're not catching them. They're not better than the O's right now. Again, especially with the O's 8th and 9th inning guys that they got in the back end of the bullpen.
And the thing is, the Orioles are a team that, all right, Mullins is out and Mountcastle out. They're not making excuses. They're still winning ball games.
No, they're sticking to their owners that don't believe in them. Maybe that's what Hal and Cashman have to do. Maybe they have to say we don't believe in this team. Maybe that will wake them up. It seems like that helped the O's. Their owner all off seems like, I'm not making moves because I don't think last year's a fluke. Maybe that's what we got to start trying to do instead of trying to, because they still talk about how this is a championship. The expectations every year is championships. We haven't won one, and it's going to be 14 years.
They got to stop with that. Yeah. They got to stop with our goal is to be it's championship or bust every year. It's not, because you kept Aaron Boone. The fact, if it was championship or bust, you wouldn't have Brian Cashman as your GM anymore, and you wouldn't have Aaron Boone as your manager if it was championship or bust. If that was your expectation. They're happy just making the playoffs. Like last year is a year they don't. The last year they were fine with last season. They were fine with last season because they made the ALCS. They're fine with making the ALCS and getting into and winning the division. That's what they're fine doing. They're not. It's not championship or bust with the Yankees. There's no way that with the way they've operated, there's no way it's championship or bust.
No, it's not. It's not. And it shouldn't be right now because the way they've been playing, or the way the last couple of years, like the postseason last year. Like I think this is what. Again, I think as long as Steinbrenner's happy, as long as he makes the playoffs, as long as Yankee Stadium is filling up night in and night out, and they're making money, I don't think they care. I don't think he minds. Like I don't think a major change happens until you see like a Saturday in the middle of July or August when there's like 20,000 people. Maybe that's when they make a change. But till then, if you're still at the ballpark, why make a change? Why change anything?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
That's the problem.
That's the problem. I mean, it's just, Cashman didn't improve this offense in the offseason, and they tried to improve the rotation, but the guy they got to improve it is still on the IL, and he's had a history of getting hurt. Yeah,
the back issue sounds like this thing. And back's never a good thing. When it's your back, especially he's in his 30s as well, that's never a good thing. They pitched well, I heard last night in AA. Well, we'll still. Again, they're going to need all the pitching help they can get because they're going to have to continue to win games 3-2, 2-1, something like that. And, look, it's frustrating that this offense it's so inept without Aaron Judge. But, I just, how do you get rid of some of these contracts and make moves? And that's a problem. Like, I know they wanted to bring back Benintendi, but he wanted 5 years. The Yankees would only give him 4. That would have helped your left field problem, like the Donaldson trade never made sense because why are you giving him $25 million? He's a shell of himself. I always felt like the Stanton thing was because this was right after Ohtani signed with the Angels. I always felt like, they only got Stanton because they lost out on Ohtani and they kind of like, all right, we have to make a move here. And again, Stanton was just coming off that 59 home run season. Like, again, I don't, and I think they figured, look, if we win a World Series, with Stanton, the last few years of that contract will make up for kind of his struggles in the last couple, in his last few years of his contract. But again, that's not happening because we haven't won a World Series. So like that contract doesn't that hasn't helped things out either. So I feel like that's a problem right now with the Yankees and some of the moves that they've made is they're kind of, well, if we win a World Series, the back end's going to be okay. Like I think the same thing with Judge and maybe even Cole, but Cole's been awesome and hopefully continue to stay awesome. But yeah, I think with the Yankees, it's just some of the moves that they made. They rely on too many veteran guys, and I don't think because sometimes you see teams go out and get like a 1-year guy for like $7-8 million, and they have like great years. The Yankees don't really get guys like that. Doesn't seem like I'm trying to think of them. I don't really they don't really do that too often.
Yeah, they don't. They don't. They don't. And yeah, it's the way this team has been constructed. They haven't really gotten better offensively. They're relying on, outside of Judge, they're relying on guys in their 30s to hit. They have not hit. They have not played up the potential. So yeah, it's just the way it's both. You can blame Boone, you can blame Cashman. It's both of them. But if this thing doesn't work out, who's gonna be held accountable for it. It's gonna be Boone because Cashman got a new contract last year.
Yeah. Now Boone still got 2 more years left, and
they'll just get rid of him though. They'll just get rid of him. If they don't make the playoffs, of 12 teams. Yeah. They cannot go back the same way. They cannot go back the same way.
No. Again, Wednesday night was last Wednesday, that game against the Mets. Why take out Albert Abreu? Why?
Yeah, I know. And then he took Cole out after 6.
Yep. You got to let Cole go another side. And then he was like, yeah, we didn't want to like use Holmes again or Peralta. Like, you need wins. That's
the problem. You're not 10.5 up. It's not like last year where you were in first place for the entire season. You need wins. You got to get there first. So if you got to use your bullpen, you got to use your bullpen.
Yeah, they had Thursday off and they had Monday off that week. Yeah. And then you got blown out this weekend. Like that's the thing. That's the thing about some of these managers. It's like just win today. Worry about tomorrow.
Exactly.
That's why I can't stand Boone, but that's maybe the one thing. Yeah, maybe we get another analytical guy. Well, we will get another analytical.
Of course, because they just that's all baseball does is hire analytical guys. All these GMs do is hire analytical guys. The only guy who's not analytical in baseball now is Dusty Baker.
Yeah, they let Baker Baker's a fine manager, and he's done a good job. Obviously, won the World Series, and and of course, but again, hopefully we get an analytical guy, but has a feel to a baseball game. Like that'd be the hope. Again, I know we're about to talk about Boston. There's Red Sox fans that blame Core for this. I think 95% of Yankee fans would trade Core for Aaron Boone.
Any day of the week, you trade Core for Aaron Boone.
Yeah, so I don't think Core's going anywhere, but hey, I think but yeah, I just at Boone just zero feel, and just again, you gotta get wins when you get them. That's the biggest problem with Boone. Yeah, it's not his fault with the roster construction, but again, the way he manages games sometimes and the way he manages the pitching staff, yeah, that's a problem.
Absolutely. And now we'll go to some of the positives. How about Garrett Cole? Garrett Cole was really good last night. And where would this team be without Garrett Cole? He's got to be a Cy Young Award candidate, because where would this team be without him? He's 8-1. They're 12-4 when he's started games. Where would this team be without Garrett Cole? They would definitely not be in the playoff race. Yeah,
absolutely. I saw a stat this morning. I think it was from ESPN Stats and Info. When Cole pitches this year, when the Yankees are coming off a loss, they're 7-0, and that's what an ace is supposed to do. Get a win, after your team, especially in a bad kind of losing streak. Your ace supposed to figure it out, go out there and pitch a great game like did again last night. I feel like a Cole too this year. Like what the finger wagging last night that he's doing, like I feel like we're getting the old Garrett Cole back we saw at Houston. Like I feel like the last couple of years with all the sticky stuff, like it's kind of more frail, I feel like, and with all the excuses, you're kind of seeing that old Garrett Cole from Houston. Like, I'm the man out here and you ain't touching me. And this is finally the Garrett Cole. He's been good, but this is the Garrett Cole I think all Yankees been expecting the last couple of years.
He's been good. He hasn't been great for this team. This year, he's been great for this team.
Yeah, he absolutely has. And it's been fun to watch him pitch. And he's figured some things out, it looks like. And, in the offseason, they've needed him this year in a couple of big spots. And last night was a big one. And, they shut down the Mariners. Again, they got some run early. They thought they had Kirby on the ropes. They couldn't really do much damage. But it was enough to get it done. So, Cole's been a huge positive for this team.
But the only way things start to change is if they win another game in the series or sweep the Mariners. They beat Luis Castillo tonight, then you can see things maybe start to change. But they got to win another game in the series, and I think they got to win this series against the Rangers when they come into Yankee Stadium. Take 2 out of 3, or sweep Seattle. Go 5-1 on this homestand. Then things will change. If they lose 2 out of 3 in this series and 2 out of 3 in Texas, last night doesn't mean anything against Texas. Last night means nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. And Cole would go Sunday against the Rangers. So if you can try to get a split Friday or Saturday, you can go in that rubber mat Sunday feeling pretty good about yourself. If you get a run or two. So, I think it's huge if they could win one more, in this series.
Especially tonight. If they could beat Castillo tonight, that'd be a big win.
Because they never hit Luis Castillo. Never.
Yeah.
They never hit him. So, that'd be beautiful. They could get him tonight.
Especially with him. Especially with us having Brito going against him.
Yeah. Even though Brito's pitched pretty good in his time here, but so far, he's a rookie. You don't know what you're gonna expect from him. So if you could somehow get him tonight, that'd be huge, because tomorrow you got for Seattle. I don't even know who this guy is. I think he's made one start.
No, they got to win this series. If they don't win this series against the Mariners, and the Mariners are a team that's underachieving as well. Yeah. Last night doesn't mean anything. Last night doesn't mean anything if they can't win one of these next 2 games.
Yeah, absolutely. The Mariners, I think last year kind of. Getting in the postseason last year was huge for me. I think you're kind of seeing a little bit of hangover from Seattle this year. So I'm absolutely with you. You got to win at least one of these last 2 games this week in Seattle.
Yeah, and now moving on to the series against the Rangers this week. You got Friday night, Smith against Dunning. I don't think they win that one. Severino against Gray. I don't think they win that one. Sunday, I think they win. So I do think the way the Yankees are playing, Texas does take 2 out of 3. But I do think they should take 2 out of 3 over the Mariners. But I do think Texas still wins 2 out of 3. The team's got to show me more. But if they could win 2 out of 3 this weekend against Texas and win the Mariners series, I think things will start to change.
Yeah, maybe. That's kind of what you need to comment, because then after that they go to Oakland and St.
Schedule
Louis.
softens up. Softens up. At Oakland, they should win all those games, and they got St. Louis. They got St. Louis too. So yes, it's about making some progress, and they got to win this homestand. I want 4-2 on this homestand.
I would like 4 out of 6 as well. I don't see it happening. Yeah, I think they lose 2 out of 3 to Texas. The way they're, again, I hope we win Sunday against our old friend Andrew Haney. I know we've been pitching better with Texas, but that hopefully you can find a way to win either Friday or Saturday. It'll be tough, but I think Seattle. I think they get 2 out of 3 against Seattle, but I'm not very confident about it still.
Yeah, we'll see. So, but now we will move to the Boston Red Sox, and the Red Sox have been playing really well. They've won 5 in a row. They won 6 in a row. They swept the Yankees. They've won their first 2 games against Minnesota. And listen, I've been a big critic of Chaim Bloom, but I got to give him some credit. Paxton, he has been good for them. They've developed Brian Bello. Brian Bello pitched really, really well on Sunday, and some of the moves offensively have been really good. Justin Turner. We saw Justin Turner in that Yankee series at 2 home runs Friday night, setting the tone there. I think he had another home run on. I think he had another big hit on Sunday in the doubleheader. Yeah. Justin Turner's been really good. Yoshida's been good. Verdugo has hit the ball well. Duvall's, when he's played, has been a good pickup. Obviously, Devers is a stud, but their rotation is improved. It's better than we think now with the way Bello has pitched. And the way Paxton has pitched, this rotation is better than we think. And then in the bullpen, Kenley Jansen obviously has been really good for them as well. So the big thing for the Red Sox is to try to get to finish third place in the division. Between the Blue Jays, Yankees, and Red Sox, the team that finishes third is the team that's going to make the playoffs out of those 3 teams. And the team that, I think, in my opinion, the team that finishes 4th and 5th, the 2 teams that finish in 4th and 5th are not going to make the playoffs, because I think that the Astros, even though they're behind the Rangers and Angels, I do think they're going to eventually find a way to make the playoffs. We know the Rangers will be a playoff team. We know the Rays will be a playoff team. The Orioles will be a playoff team. And then one team from the Central is going to make it. So the goal is to finish third in the division. And where the Red Sox are right now, the biggest thing with the Red Sox is what they've done over the last couple of weeks. It started in the Bronx against the Yankees. They're keeping themselves afloat. They're keeping themselves in it until I think they're going to keep themselves in it until the trade deadline, so they can add a starter and try to compete for this thing. I think they're going for it now. I think the Red Sox are going for it. I think some of Chaim Bloom's moves in the offseason are better than we think. I think the Red Sox are definitely putting themselves in position. Winning 5 out of 6 against the Yankees put themselves in position to be a contender this year.
Yeah, they have the last week or so. Yeah, with the offensive, Devers, Verdugo, Justin Turner had a big weekend. Yeah, they're starting to turn a corner here, and again, part of it, I think. Well, I think it was Trevino. It was Trevino. I think it was Trevino or IKF last week said, like the Yankee Red Sox rivalry, it's not as heated as once was, and it was. They were kind of like pretty much saying like the Red Sox.
I know it isn't, but why would you say that?
I don't know. So it kind of feels like maybe that woke up Boston a little bit, taking a shot at them. So, they've hit the ball really well the last 2 nights, or even in that Yankee series, they pounded them, especially after the first couple of games against the Rockies where they did not play well. But yeah, they're starting to figure it out, and yeah, Yoshida's been awesome. Carter Crawford's ERA is down to it's in the 3s now. Brian Bellows looked really, really good. Whitlock pitched, I think Whitlock's going tonight, but he was coming off a really good start against the Rockies last week. And yeah, Paxton's been really, really good. He's had a 1 bad start, and that was against the Angels. And other than that, he's been awesome for him. And, again, Sale, I don't know if Sale's going to come back this year. I know they're hoping maybe late August. You could add a guy like that too, maybe. But the way he was pitching before he got hurt, you could maybe potentially add him at the end of the year. John Schreiber is going to be back, I think, at the end of the month too. And he's a really good piece that they're back into the bullpen with Jansen. And Story might be coming back. Story's hoping to start DHing in
Story's July. Big too, because then you could shift Kike to second base, and that adds another bat in the lineup.
Yep. So they're hoping Story some point in July, and then he said he's going to be starting in shortstop in August. So yeah, if you can keep yourself afloat the next couple of weeks, you can add a Trevor Story right around the All-Star break. And, it's, for Boston right now, you got to kind of, because they haven't done well. Again, like the Rockies should have won 2 out of 3. You shouldn't have, I know the Reds are starting to play well, but like a couple of those series against the NL Central teams really kind of hurt now.
But the thing is for them, they've made up for it against the Yankees and the Blue Jays. They've made up for it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. They have made up for it for those struggles. But yeah, this team's playing really well. Alex Cora's they're figuring out the right buttons. And again, that offense right now, 382 runs. They're one of the best offense teams in the sport. And again, even if they're, it's tough to rely on your offense every night because they're going to go through, lumps. That's just what happens in an 82-game season. But right now they're on fire, and the pitching staff's really been helping them out. And it just kind of seems like, hey, they both the hitting and the pitching have kind of figured it out right now, and that's been huge.
And I think they keep staying hot until through this weekend, because I think they got a couple with the Twins. I think they could win one of those, and then they go to Chicago this against the White Sox team that hasn't played well. So I think this team can continue to stay hot. But the biggest thing is what they've done in that Yankee series. That was so key for them to take 5 out of 6, because now they're going to be they're contenders, and I think they're going to be contenders throughout the summer.
Yeah, I think so too, unless they go through another bad stretch. But yeah, I think something. I think something. I don't know what it was, just playing the Yankees or what Trevino said or whatever. Like something kind of clicked with them, and yeah, it's been huge. And yeah, I think this team. Again, this team's got the talent. Again, they'd be in first place in AL Central. Like, instead of sitting there in 5th place, they'd be a couple games. They'd be like, 4 or 5 up, I think, in AL Central right now. So yeah, this again, there's a good team on paper. Can the pitching staff come together? It has lately. And yeah, I think this is a team that, again, they're only a half. They're only a game and a half back at 3rd place now, the Yankees. So yeah, I think this team. We'll see what Hine does, but I would assume that he's going to go out and go trade some pieces if they're still kind of right around, because they should be right around, hovering right around 3rd place. And, with Toronto, the Yankees is, with those 3 teams slugging out for 3rd place.
Yeah, and he's got it. If he's in it, I think he's going to be in late July, he has got to go out and make a trade for a starting pitcher. They have got to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, they absolutely have to. If you can get one more, and that'd be huge.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, absolutely. So we'll see what happens with the Red Sox in the coming weeks. They've been playing really well. We'll see if they continue that. But we're going to wrap up the show talking about Bob Huggins. And on Saturday, he got arrested for due to getting for driving under the influence. For driving under the influence, he got a DUI on Saturday, and that resulted in him resigning as head coach at West Virginia. I think the big reason why I think he was forced out. I think the big reason he was forced out more because of the DUI was because of the comments. I think the DUI, was the final straw, but I think the comments were a big reason too on that Cincinnati radio station he made. I think that was a big reason why he resigned or was forced out. I think that's why. The big question though is this his final job? Is Bob Huggins done? And I think he's done. I think it's more because of the comments and the DUI is why he's done. Why I don't think he's going to get another coaching job. If he wants a D2 or a D3 job, maybe, but in Division I, I think he's done. Yeah,
I'm with you, because after the comments, they reworked his contract to make it like a 1-year deal, and he took a $1 million pay cut. And they put West Virginia has a very, very good NIL fund. They put a lot of NIL money in it, because this was. We'll see if they can keep that team intact, but this was supposed to be, on paper, his best team since 2010, the Final Four team.
Wow.
This was supposed to be a really, really good team. Again, this is the second time he got busted for DUI. He got busted back when he was at Cincinnati back in the early 2000s. And now, this is nothing confirmed, but I think now from the DUI, I think you can kind of speculate that. I don't think, he may have been under something with doing those comments. Comments that he said, that's not something you would say sober. That's not. I don't know if you've heard it.
I'm
not making excuses for him, but I'm just saying. That's something. That's nothing you say sober.
You can never make those comments. He should have been fired after the comments. That's a shame on West Virginia University for keeping this guy employed after the comments. That's a shame on them. He should have been fired after the comments. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I went back and forth. He is a living legend on that, because he is from Morgantown. Like, he's one of those.
I know he's a legend, but you can't say what he said.
I know you can't. It was tough. I'm like, all right. I was okay with, because they were pretty much a 1 year. Okay, this is it. I was okay with that. Like, we'll give you one final run here to try to go get back to a Final Four. I was okay with the 1 year thing. But I could see your point of yes, because most guys are not surviving the comments like that. They're just not. And it was going to be interesting, too, because they're playing Xavier as well this year. So that would have been fun. I think it may be at Xavier. It may have been it's at Xavier, too. So I was kind of looking forward to that game. See when he walked on that floor. But yeah, we'll see where West Virginia goes now. It's again, I love Bob Huggins. He's always, one of my first moments of college basketball was him sitting up on on the bar stool. I just felt with the polo jacket. Like, I've always been a big Bob Huggins guy. I was hoping 2010 he was going to get his championship, but yeah, again, I hope he gets help because, there's no way he could survive this in 6 weeks, 2 incidents like this. Nobody's surviving that. So it's unfortunate. I don't know where West Virginia goes to find a coach now because you're in June and teams are already working out. So be interesting.
What they'll probably do is they'll probably hire an assistant to be the interim.
Yeah, I would think they would have done that already. That's what I'm like. I don't know. Now, the other thing I've heard, too, is it sounds like he's maybe pulling the strings of donors, trying to get Adam Kennedy, the UAB coach, who's former assistant, to get that job. But because it sounds like he's trying to get part of that, who he hires next, which I don't think he should after this.
No, after the mistakes, absolutely not. You shouldn't. Yeah, you're lucky you didn't get fired. You're lucky you didn't get. You're lucky they let you, or they're saying that you resign. You're lucky you weren't just fired after the last 2 incidents. You're very lucky you didn't.
Yeah, they are. They are. And again, the last thing too is that AD too's got a bit, because I'm surprised they kept that football coach Neil Brown. I think Neil Brown to be fired in November, so like he's got 2 big hires. Like he's got to hit the basketball one, and I think this is going to be his first football one as well. So like these are 2 big hires. So it's tough that you're going to probably have to do this back to back, because I don't think Neil Brown's going to last to the end of the year. I think they're going to probably fire Neil Brown by November, looking at the schedule. So big kind of couple key job points here for the AD at West Virginia, because that's a great fan base, and it's a very dedicated fan base. But we'll see. It's sad to see what happened to Huggins here.
Yeah, the AD at West Virginia, his work is cut out for him. And for Bob Huggins, great coach, but made 2 terrible mistakes to end his career. But that's going to wrap it up this week on Sports Talk with R&J. For Justin D'Onofrio, I'm Steve Risser. We'll be back next week talking about NBA offseason news, the Yankees and Red Sox, and any NFL news that comes our way. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Jones on first down, wide open, it's Barkley. And Saquon Barkley will take it into the end zone.
Your best ability is availability. Saquon Barkley, he's great when he's on the field, but the problem is since 2018, he hasn't been healthy for this team.
Look at this. They lob it to him. He taps it in off the glass. How about that?
Porter Moser, I think right now is the best coach in college basketball, hands down.
Fins 2 for 3. He's done his part. Pitch is drilled to deep right field toward the pole, and it is gone.
They don't mind not being what they were in the 90s as the best organization in baseball, because the Yankees aren't even close to the best organization in baseball.
They're trying to be the Rays, and the Rays do this for a reason. Like, you're the Yankees.
Hello, my name is Joe Aguirre. I'm the president of Clovercrest Media Group. And here at CMG, we have a wide variety of podcasts, including sports shows like Keys to the City, The Roll Call, Throwing Jabs, All 4 Downs, and Jawing About the G-Men. And great true crime shows like Sticky Meek, Crimes and Consequences, Ivy League Murders, and Bird, the unsolved murder of David Eichmann. You can find all these podcasts and so much more by visiting clovercrestmedia.com.